I bought this Husqvarna 522HDR60x to help keep these Eucalyptus gunnii as a hedge. I've planted several other varieties with the intention of keeping them as hedging. These are glossines, parvula, often grown for floral foliage. These have got flower buds. Pulverulenta, looking a bit scruffy after the pretty severe winter we've had. Pulverulenta are fabulous, especially if you're a beekeeper. They flower prolifically. Arnagera, like the glossines, these now have adult foliage. Perenniana, spinning gum, and these likewise all have adult foliage now and flower buds. After several years of experimenting with different varieties and different techniques, both in Scotland and here in Ireland, I'd say that Subcrenulata is possibly the best choice if you want to create hedging and screening. They're also exceptionally tough despite the poor winter and storm Eowyn. These are in fabulous condition, putting out good new growth. I'm on an exposed site here and they've been very tough, hardy and wind resilient. Last year these flowered, and these are the fruits, the urns, and this particular tree has lots of flower buds, so I'm expecting a lot more flowers this year from the Subcrenulata, which is handy because seed is very scarce. It's warm, currently 15 degrees C here at Clonsnaughta on the west coast of Ireland. So back to the Husqvarna hedge trimmer. It's been fabulous. It's done everything that I've wanted it to do. However, the eucalyptus haven't done what I expected them to do. So I'm moving on the Husqvarna 522HDR60x. The HD, I presume, stands for hedge, and the R stands for rough. So this is designed for cutting larger branches. I'll go through the specs and operation shortly. In the meantime, I would expect, if you're considering buying this, I am going to put it on done deal. It's for sale. You'll want to know if it still starts and works as it came out of the factory. In most of the areas where I've planted eucalyptus as hedging, I've also put down what's called gravel here on the west coast of Ireland. Some of it pretty chunky rocks. So a tip guard was one feature that I was keen on. The other feature with the Husqvarna, which isn't unique to the Husqvarna, is the ability to turn the handle. It's a very helpful feature. It certainly makes cutting up the side of a hedge much more comfortable. This is a choke. It's a manual choke, you have to push it back in once it's fired, and the fuel bubble, for want of a better description, is handily placed. I've hardly used it, so I haven't even taken off the cover for the air filter, but it sits in here. So there you go, that's how much I've used it. Spiders are nesting in it, but it's fabulously clean in there. I've greased it before use every year. It came with a key and also a tube of grease. I suspect the tube of grease is just a standard off the shelf tube of grease. It would have been very handy if the tube of grease, if the thread on the tube of grease matched the thread on the plug for the transmission cover. Anti-vibration springs. It's been very pleasant to use. While making this video, I've had a few thoughts of, will I just keep it or will I move it on? Besides lubricating the transmission, and I've used the grease that came with the hedge trimmer when I bought it, the blades also require lubrication. I'm an environmentalist and I just use normal vegetable oil, which has worked perfectly well for the past 3 seasons that I've had this hedge trimmer. It's in new condition. I've hardly used it. Perhaps 20-25 hours maximum. Most of the time it's been hanging on a peg in the garage. Got it out this morning, gave it a pump of fuel. It started first time, it burbles away perfectly well, idles fabulously. I use steel 1:50 2-stroke mix, so I've got a 5 litre petrol can and put in 100 millilitres of 2-stroke oil. So it's been treated well. Thanks for taking the time, always appreciated.